Hey there, this is Pussy Empowered Podcast, and I'm your host, Alyssa Aparicio. I'm equal parts Bronx bitch and mountain witch. I believe that when you untame your pussy, you access your power. As a pussy empowerment coach, I teach women how to do this with a holistic approach that incorporates mind, body, emotion, and spirit. As a sacred erotic creatrix, I surrender to new heights of embodied, expressed art and performance myself. On this podcast, I share about my approach to pussy power and interview fellow paradigm-shifting badasses about theirs.
Hey, Apollo.
Huh?
Hi.
Oh my goodness, like, what the fuck, girl? This hair color, like, wow.
I know, right? Unfortunately, it's just a filter.
What?
But
Oh, shit, that's
doesn't it look
crazy.
real?
I thought it was, how the fuck do they, how
I have
they,
no
it looks,
idea,
that's
but I
crazy.
need it in my life. And do you have an actual snake on your? You have a live
Oh, yeah,
snake
this
on your
is,
fucking neck.
yes, this is Adonis. Yes, say
Oh
hello.
my God. Hi. That
This
is
is my baby.
so dope. I didn't know you had a snake. Holy shit.
Yeah, I've had her for like a couple months now, actually. Yeah.
Whoa. The choreography opportunities. Have you been snake
Oh,
dancing?
yeah. Yeah, she has already been in 2
Oh
videos.
shit. She needs the IMDb.
Yeah, exactly. Already she does. Oh, it's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. I'm so happy we get to chat together. I love your sweater and
Yeah.
I need it in my life. Like
Oh,
yesterday.
yeah. I had definitely have some new things that I've been busy. I've been working on a lot of stuff. So I have this coming out. I have some more of the videos coming out, which, I've been working on those as well. Working
Yes.
hard on top of the other stuff. So I can't wait to release the rest of you girls' videos. Like
Ooh, it's gonna be
it's really good.
spicy.
Yeah,
Okay, we're
I'm
gonna
so
talk about
excited.
that more in depth, also at the
Okay.
end. But first, I just wanted to
Yes.
start by, well, first I want to welcome you. Welcome, Apollo. I'm so excited to get to talk to you on the podcast. You were one of the first people that popped into my mind when I was ready to do interviews and wanting to do interviews, and I just want to have conversations. I love having deep conversations with artists and thinkers that are doing shit that's outside of the box. So I'm just so happy you're
Hmm.
here to talk with me.
Oh, thank
And
you. I appreciate you for having me.
yeah, duh. But first, I just want to share about kind of how you entered my life and the impact that you've had on my life. Um, and that is that when I first moved to LA, which is 10 years ago now, which is insane.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
yeah, moved to LA from New York, and my friend Marima, who you also know, told me
Yes.
that there was a dance teacher I needed to learn from, and it just so happened that you were teaching heels like 10 minutes walking from where I was living in Hollywood. And so I first went to that class and I walked into that room, and there you are in your giant stilettos and all the swag in the universe and all the bad bitches in that room. And I was like, holy crap, where has this been all my life? But also, like, it was fucking intimidating. But I knew I had to be there. I
Oh,
knew it was the place like I needed to be and what I wanted to grow into. And the women that were there, the men that were there, all different kinds of people that were there, and everybody just owning who they were. And I was like, this is what I fucking need. So I was so grateful to have stumbled into
oh,
your
thank you so
class
much.
and I
No, when
continue
I
to
saw
learn
you
from
walk in,
you.
I was like, wow, who is this girl? Who is this tall legs and long hair? Who is this spicy individual? Like, yeah,
Oh
when you
my
came to class,
gosh.
I was so like, wow. Like, yeah.
And I was
So
so
the feeling
shy.
was
So I love
mutual.
hearing that. Comparatively, like you really helped me grow
Yes.
into the dancer that I am, the woman that I am, owning my sexuality and how much of a journey that's been for me, and just getting to perform. And you believed in me as a dancer when I wasn't believing in myself, and just put me on
Oh,
stage and just it was your class has been such an important part of my life. So thank you.
well,
Um,
thank you.
and for clarification, Apollo teaches Ghetto Stiletto, which is exactly what it sounds like, or better. Yes.
Yes,
So, Apollo, can you
yes.
tell us about Ghetto Stiletto and about the work that you've done to become Mr. Ghetto Stiletto, and who you've worked with along the years. Just tell us about yourself, like where you're from, all that good stuff.
Okay, so I'm from Tampa, Florida originally, and I moved out here in 2009. And before I left, I started, playing around in heels, like, doing performances, having my girls dance in heels. How I actually got dancing in heels originally was, it was a bet with one of my best friends, and he bet me about going to a heels class. And he was like, "Oh, I bet you won't go to this heels class." It was like $20 or something that we bet or whatever. So I was just like, okay, well, you go get you some heels, I'm gonna go get me some heels, and we're gonna meet up at class. So we met up at class, and I fucking slayed.
Of course,
it was like my first time. Yeah, it was like my first time being in a pump, like for real, not just like playing around, like being funny with my friends, but like really like taking the class, learning choreography. And it was like I felt this energy that I never really felt before. And when I put them on, when I took the class, just the vibes, and just, I don't know, it was just very different for me. So ever since then, I had like this little relationship with just heels, or wanting to be in heels, put my girls in heels, etc. So when I moved out here, I got out here on being on tour, and the tour ended in San Diego, and I kind of just moved here. I kind of left my whole life in Tampa. Girl, what are you just staring at me? You hear me talking? Okay. He's like, I've heard this story so many times now.
I've never heard this story, so I'm excited. Adonis, take
like,
a seat. No.
I know. She's like, "Mommy, I'm tired." Okay, so the tour ended in San Diego, and I just decided I never wanted to go back. So I literally took a bus from San Diego to LA and started my life out. Like, just literally like $1 in a dream, little money I had left from the tour, some money I saved, and yeah, I left an apartment, I left my dog, like I left everything back home to like just literally start a new life out here. I knew maybe like 2 people, kind of, but not really. It was like we had met maybe once, or it was somebody I knew that we were cool on MySpace, but I didn't really know anybody out here. So when I got out here, I was just trying to decide, well, I knew I always wanted to choreograph. That was never a question. But, when you come to LA, it's always like, well, who are you? What are you going to do? What's special about you? And, all those different things. How are you going to separate yourself? And, at the time when I had my dreads, that was like a thing. It was like, well, the dreads wasn't really a thing. It was like, well, guys, you need to be clean cut, especially if you're a black guy. It was like clean cut, or maybe braids or something like that. That was the look. With dreads, it was like no one had that. So that was already a thing that made me stand out. Like, not so much in a good way. It was like a half and half, a good way and a bad. But I knew that I wanted to teach a heels class when I came out here. But when I first came out here, that was another thing. People were like, and you need to stop doing that, talking about this. And I was just like, what? Like, this is LA. Like, you're supposed to be able to do anything that you want to do. Like, this is supposed to be a blank canvas. You know what I'm saying? So when I got here, my first, like I say, 3 weeks, I was kind of like down. I was kind of like, okay, because the main thing was this, as a male dancer, it's going to basically put you in a box and you will ruin your career. It's like, oh, you're going to ruin your chances for, booking certain types of gigs and roles because, you're being extra gay and flamboyant and stuff like that. So, like I say, for my first, like, 3 weeks, I kind of took it to heart. And I was just like, oh, okay, like, maybe they're right. Maybe I need to, just go the regular route and, kind of just, do what most people do when they come here. Just, be a dancer and just, take class and, not try to teach or be a choreographer. Like I said, 3 weeks and that was it. I was over that. I was like, bitch, please. I'm going to do what I want.
Yes.
I didn't come way out to LA. Oh, and then I had a snake too back home. I also had to leave him. I left I left everything. His name was Morpheus. That was the snake that I had back then. I had to literally leave everything. Car, everything. Left it all to come out here. So I'm not gonna do that and come out here and then just put myself back in a box. You know what I'm saying? I came out here to expand and evolve and open myself even more and to be comfortable doing that. So to come to a place to where I thought I was be able to do that, and then for them to be like, oh no, you can't be what you want to be. You got to be this. So I was just like, no. So Ghetto Stiletto specifically started when I was walking. I remember I was walking in Hollywood my first time, and I just happened to pass by IDA, and I was like, dance studio, like seeing the sign, and I walked up, and I was just like, oh wow, like, you know, I never heard about it, never knew anything about it. So asked for a little information, etc., whatever, blah blah blah, but didn't really pay no attention. There was a choreographer named Kamari, that I had been taking class with, training somewhat under her, and, you know, befriended with her and stuff like that. And she was just like, you know, I talked to her about, you know, wanting to teach and stuff, and she think about coming to ID, introduce you to the manager, just, you know, talk to them, see what you know can maybe figure out. So I was like, cool. So did that, went to IDA, set up a meeting, went talked to the manager, and I was just like, hey, you know, this is what I want to do. Because she was like, this is Apollo, you know, Chill's class, et cetera, blah, blah. So I was like, okay. So had the meeting with her, and in the meeting, I didn't, because I got all these other reactions when I came out here from people that were either already working or someone in the industry, or they've been here longer than me, or et cetera. So I didn't really know how that was going to play out. So I didn't really think as far as a name for a class. It was more so like, I just want to teach a Hills class, and then that was like it. And I was like, well, that's all I knew. I didn't think of a name or what I wanted to be called or any of that stuff. So in the moment, she was like, oh, okay, that sounds really, really dope. Like, you know, like she says, like, you're really good or whatever. So I think we can do it. So what's your class called? I'm like, I'm looking around the room. I'm trying to find it in the air, trying to find the words, trying to find something. And I'm just like, well, you can't just call it Ills class. Like, that's not fun. So I'm just literally started kind of thinking, having flashbacks of just my experiences, my club experiences, other experiences, strip club experiences, just like all of those experiences from being back to Tampa, just everything as a whole. And I was like, damn, I was like, ghetto. And then I'm like looking around the room, and I'm just like, okay, so you got that part done. So what else? Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, so then I'm like, stiletto? And she's like, oh my God, I love it. Amazing, amazing, amazing. That's perfect. And I was just like, yeah, girl, get a stiletto. Yeah. Of course. Like, literally born in that. That's what I'm saying. When I say Ghetto Stiletto was born at IDA, it literally was born inside of her in the office.
Wow. That's amazing. You just pulled that out of spirit. You were like, Ghetto Stiletto, perfect.
No, like seriously pulled it out of, that was definitely a spirit guide directed thought that came to me during that time. But when I said it, even though I was questioning it when I said it, it was almost like it felt right when I said the name. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like I was actually trying to be a gimmick or anything like that. And then at the time too, ghetto wasn't something that was so acceptable. You know, like people was just like, oh, ghetto. Like back then it was like ratchet and stuff like that. That wasn't really what was selling. You know, that wasn't the thing to be or to do. Or, you know, it's like, if anything, it was like, well, that's too ghetto. You want to cover that up, or like, you know, right. You know, you want to, you know, pull your pants, your shirt together, you know, show too much breast. You know what I'm saying? Or just certain things during that time in the industry that wasn't, you know, that just wasn't the theme of the era at that time. And then also Boyz teaching in Hills wasn't a theme of the era either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no one was doing that.
Really. No one was doing that. Like, you had Jonte. Now, Jonte had been doing it for a while, but Jonte was in New York, and then he moved to Japan, and then that was like the end of that. Like, when he moved to Japan, it was just like that. So Jonte, to me, was like the Beyonce of dance. Like, Jonte, if people wonder who Jonte is, if you ever seen Freakum Dress, remember the guys in the beginning of Freakum Dress that was doing all the stuff with the clothes and stuff like that? That guy is Jonte. Like, he can literally do anything in Hills, from tumbling to hip hop. And then he was very androgynous how he did his things. You know what I'm saying? Like, he could get in some Timbs and bust choreography and then get in pumps and bust the same choreography and execute it just as well. So Jonte, out of anybody, because I never, other than him, there was nobody else that I ever saw. And then when I came to LA, there wasn't really anybody teaching that. And if they were teaching it, then it wasn't so much like publicized or wasn't really out there. But when I came here specifically, there wasn't really any guys teaching heels like that. So, and then two, it, like I said, it wasn't a main theme, or it wasn't like a class that was built. There wasn't like a place that you can go where it's like, oh, I know I can go to this class and I'm specifically going to learn heels training. You know what I'm saying? That just wasn't it, especially anything that was ghetto or any of that sort. That it just wasn't really happening at that time. Because, I mean, it was more men dance like men. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're a man and masculine, that's what you need to, you know, veer towards that area. And if you are feminine, you were put in a specific category, like you're vulgar, or maybe you're a drag queen, or, you know what I'm saying, something like that. But with, like, say, overall, just being in pumps, or you might do it for a show or maybe a music video, but as a consistent thing, that just wasn't, you know, that wasn't, like I said, that wasn't a theme of the era back then.
Right.
So, and as time went by, I was very happy to see how it was received, because when I was in Florida, even though I did it, Florida and just the South in general, it's not saying that it's closed-minded, but people are just more like, wait, what? You know what I'm saying? Because the creativity of it, they're just like, okay, you dancing heels, so that means like you do drag, or, you know what I'm saying? That was like the themes I would get from back home. So being out here, it was more so like, oh, wow, like that's really cool, because overall, people understand entertainment and the arts, so they wouldn't look at it, you know what I'm saying? There's just like everyday people, like, you know, especially like when it came to straight men. You know, straight men were way more accepting of what I did out here than I feel like they would be in the South. Like, because they really looked at it. They understood, well, this is LA. Everybody's doing something or whatever. But it was interesting that I had more people outside of the industry that was accepting of it than actually in the industry, I guess you could say. And I guess more dancers, I would say, at the time. Well, at least the ones around me, for the most part. But when it came to the industry, though, I would say that I booked more jobs because of Ghetto Stiletto than I did without it. That didn't require me to be in heels. Because when they would see that I did that, they were like, oh, well, shit, you can do that. You can do anything. Like, you know? So I would get that. That was like, well, that's not specifically what we need you for, but we know what we can use you.
Right.
So me just being, pushing myself towards, I guess, what I felt I wanted to do. Because it wasn't like, oh, I just want to do something so I could be noticed and all that stuff. I was already getting noticed just because of my hair. Like, people would be like, who's that boy with the dreads? You know, I really wanted to do something that just felt right to me.
Yeah.
And and like I said, the power that I felt when I put on a pump, and then the power that I saw, like, when I would teach, like, classes, and when I would put my girls back home in heels, the energy that would change inside of them, I noticed that. It was like somewhat like a confidence lifter and empowerment. And yeah, and it just wasn't, it didn't come from a place of like, oh, I'm a dancer. It's just like, no, I'm a woman. You know what I'm saying? That's the energy that I started to feel when I would put my girls in heels. And then even as I started teaching the class, in the beginning, I knew I wanted to teach heels, but then when I really saw my class changing women and how they move and dance and felt about themselves, and you know, how I just started seeing like evolution in people throughout the class, and just how being in a pump, how much that could really change a person internally, just the fact of being in a heel. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Totally. What that makes them feel like. And then the fact that you can do it and have confidence and feel beautiful and strong and powerful all at the same time. So seeing those transformations happening in my students is like what have really evolved the Ghetto Stiletto in my class even more from when I first started. As I said, when I first started, it's something I wanted to do, and it was an idea, and I wanted to teach. But I didn't realize that it would turn into more of not a dance class, but a confidence builder, you know what I'm saying? Like more of an empowerment just for women, but just anybody in general. who came to class, you know, and I didn't really, I didn't know that that's what it was going to turn into, but it did. And once I saw that, no matter what I heard from people or their perspective or whatever, I didn't care, you know, because I felt like this is what I meant. Because for one, I never felt uncomfortable doing it. I never felt like I wasn't supposed to. It's like, well, you're only doing this. And also, too, I never got bored with it. Never got bored with doing it, being in a pump. And I also got over the fact of it defining who I am as a man. That's the other thing that a lot of guys, it's hard for them to do it and still, I guess, maintain their idea, the perspective of their masculinity. And I got to a point where I didn't care. I didn't let that affect me. You know, I was just like, whatever, because I still know who I am as a person. And like, I already knew it's like hip hop was my roots and just freestyle and stuff like that. So I didn't really have to worry about, oh, what are people going to think? Because I bust, you know, hip hop just as hard as I do my heels.
Yeah.
So I didn't really so much focus on what are people going to think, or they're going to put me in a category. I was just like, if anything, I'm just really showing people my versatility, and that I'm just not, which is fine. Wherever you want to be artistically is where you want to be. But for me, I wanted to have that duality within myself and my artistry, if that makes sense. So
yes,
that's kind of like a little beginning of Ghetto Stiletto.
Yeah, and I never heard this whole story. I never heard this, so that's so cool to hear how it came together.
Yeah,
the origins, and yeah, when anybody watches you dance in any style, you just ooze so much confidence, and something that you would say and you continue to say, I believe, in your classes, is that this is a confidence class, and something about putting on the heel and the space that you hold that is so welcoming and so encouraging, that allows us to find that within the confidence within ourselves and to practice that. And so I'm wondering if you could say more about that journey with confidence and how you came to feel so comfortable in your skin no matter how you were showing up. And was it always that way for you, or like what was that journey a little bit?
When it came to being confident, like I never, like back home, I never really had I never had an issue with that. When I was younger, when I was like bigger, I always used to be a big boy when I was like in high school. But even then, it was more so comfortability within myself, and how not so much women, but men would do me, especially like in dating and stuff like that. That's more where my confidence used to be kind of hit a little bit. Because when it came to other stuff, I was like, child, please, I'm in this pump. Like, I dare you to try it, try me, whatever, blah, blah, blah. You know, but when it came to just my personal life and how that was affecting that, because sidebar, my parents didn't know about Ghetto Stiletto until I was 26. Mind you, I moved here when I was like 22, 23.
Wow.
So so like saying like that whole perspective of just my lifestyle, they just knew that I was out here teaching and choreographing and stuff like that. They didn't know I was teaching hills. So I was ready to have parents. So that then the outside perspective, like relationships and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? And especially with guys too, because like it goes back to how people want to define you to be a certain way. In my career, entertainment, once I got here and I realized that anybody really could just doing whatever the fuck they want to do, then I got over that part when it came to the industry is concerned. And like I would go to the regular auditions in a pump. Why are you at the hip? Because I want to show that I can do this in Slater's choreography in a pump.
Yeah.
I used to just do that. And that to me, it was for me. That was a test for me, just to, you know what I'm saying, in that space. Okay, well, no other guys are in a pump or whatever, but you're the one in the pump. Do you need to be? No, but I want to be because I'm doing this for me. You know, this is my test for myself. Like, I would take classes sometimes. I would come there in a pump, you know, not trying to show out because, like, I'm training for myself. This is training for me. And especially then, there wasn't that many hills classes going on. There were maybe like maybe 3 or 4 consistent heels classes to go to. But there wasn't like today where it's like almost a heels class on every, well, it was before COVID, a heels class on every hour, you know. But yeah, so as I continue to just grow into myself, and especially once I told my parents, well, I'm not gonna say that affected me because there's completely different sides of the world. Never was like internet savvy and all that stuff, so they never would go online and see anything like that. But once I was able to have that conversation with them, then I got to be able to share my career a little bit more with them. Hey, Mom, I'm doing this. Hey, Mom, I have a logo. Hey, Dad, this is I have a business now. I got an LLC. Like, I was able to give them a better understanding of what I was doing out here, and I felt more what's the word? I felt more connected to myself because I felt like just out of everything else that I had going on, those personal connections that I had, like with my family and then just like relationships and stuff like that, I felt that because I was like, how can I be confident in everything else, but then my internal connections, I'm still not being able to really be myself, and be able to say, hey, this is what I do, like I teach in heels, it's not really a knock or anything on myself or who I am, or to explain it as well, like break it down. Well, does that also, do you do drag? Do you wear makeup? Because that would be the thing too I would get with some people. They're like, well, do you do drag? And I'm like, well, no, drag is a completely different art form. That's literally dressing up, makeup, hair. Like, I don't do makeup, I don't do hair, I don't do nails. Like, that's just not my thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's literally the heel for me. That's what it is. Literally the power of the pump.
Yeah.
So, so that's pretty much, as I say, time has gone by. And then like today, I feel that like I've seen so many people from when I first met them, like you, for instance, seeing just how much you've grown from when I first met you. And even when I think that just, talking to different people and hearing my girls' stories, hearing how you were when I first met you versus what I saw when I first met you, and hearing where you were. Like when I saw you, it's like the girl that I see now, I'm like, yeah, that's, what I'm saying? It's like, that's the same girl. You know what I'm saying? Like I saw the fierceness, I saw the lioness, I saw the sensual radiance, like I seen it all. You know what I'm saying? Like it was no question about it. And I just was like, ooh, but does she see? How can I bring that out of people? I think that's like one of my things. Like when I see people have certain gifts and they're not aware of it, or they're not fully comfortable with displaying it to the full extent, it's like something inside me has to like pull that out. It's like, bitch, do you know that you're fucking sickening? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you know how freaking amazing you are, or how beautiful you are, or just anything, whatever it is that I see, I always try to enhance those qualities in people. And, and it's not even like, oh, I feel like I got to be a Build-A-Bear or something, but I feel it's a disservice to not let a person know that they're dope. Like, if you're walking by someone and you see they have something bomb on, are you not going to be like, oh my gosh, I love that dress, or I love those pair of heels, or your hair, oh my gosh, that haircut, or whatever it is. It could be a fucking car. Oh my goodness, I love that Mercedes. Like anything that you feel or deem to be something that you can give someone some type of positive energy about, or to make them aware of something that they might not have known that is positive about themselves. I feel those things are important. Like that's how we're supposed to be in life. That's how when you walk by, so like the other day I saw this lady, and I think she was so surprised for me to say anything, because I don't know what it was. It was some get up with a shawl and a dress and like this other thing. It was like a wrap, and it was just so colorful and bright. It was just so weird to see her standing out in front of just everyone else. It's like, this was the only thing you saw. And when I walked by her, and I was just like, oh my goodness, excuse me. And I don't know what she thought I was going to ask. I don't know what she thought I was going to ask. But I was like, what you're wearing? I was like, it's really unique and it's beautiful. I was like, I've never seen anything like that, and I just had to tell you. And she was just like, oh my gosh, like, thank you. Like, I just threw this on, like, and I know it's bright, but she was like, this is just what I was feeling today. And I was like, well, whatever you were feeling was the right feeling to feel.
Yes.
I was like, I enjoy I said, I'm enjoying what you're wearing is giving me joy to see it. So just know that if no one else is feeling it, I'm feeling it.
I love that. And that comes through so much as you as a teacher, the way that you encourage us to be ourselves. And it's not like you're trying to teach us how to be you or how to be a copycat, whatever, the cookie cutter version of sexy. It's all about connecting to your own inner sexuality and letting yourself the way that you teach is always so positive, so encouraging, and it's like finding the gem in the rough, like all of the layers that we are holding like ourselves under, all of the bullshit that we're thinking in our heads. Like for me, I was so fucking caught in my head, and I had such a hard time of just being in my body and like connecting to the choreography, because I was always thinking, am I doing it right? And that you always saw past that, and that the way that you believed in me to just, embody your movement and what you were trying to create. I always felt so honored that you were trusting me with that. And so it's been really special for me. But, it's true. It's true. And that's going to take me into my next question, which is so something that something that has been really important in learning from you has been allowing myself to be seen in class and having that practice space in class where we have that set aside time to allow ourselves to be seen by one another. Like we do our sexy walks across the floor, we do our ghetto walks across the floor, and the different kind of walks that you teach us, but we allow ourselves to be seen and as the only person going across the floor in front of the group, and that was really a hard practice, but became so important. And I noticed, like, as a practice of standing and embodying my power, like when I wasn't practicing that, especially when I wasn't going to your class, that I would slip out of that. I would forget that I'm a bad bitch, and like it required practice.
You can never forget that you're a bad bitch. I know,
you can never. But you know what I mean. I know that when you're not, when you're not showing up and practicing it, it's easy to forget. And like I think it's something probably that people are experiencing right now, like not being, I don't know, people who like being seen or performers or being more in a quarantine space, that it's difficult. But what I wanted to ask you is actually you kind of answered this, but how did you come to the space of or what I'm making up a new question because I kind of already asked this question, but
I know it's like I accidentally just kind of, because I just kind of ran through and he was just like, oh, there's a question answered. But check.
Exactly. Well, I just wanted to say that like it's been such an important practice of embodying it, and I wonder how about for you?
Well, can I just elaborate on that really quick?
Sure.
What you're saying, because the people that are watching, if you don't know, like she was saying in my class, I have different moments where you go across the floor and like I have different walks and stuff like that. But the main thing that everybody loves in my class is the sexy slow walk. And I turn the lights down, you know what I'm saying? I always put some like nice, sexy, slow music. I have some like little lights. I try to set the mood, to just kind of get people out of that, like I'm in class space, and just either get them in a more personal space, or even like we have fun when we're at the club. I always tell women, like, you don't realize when you're at the club that everything that I need you to do in class, you're already doing at the club. Like, without thinking about it. You're walking in the club, you're going to get your drinks, you dancing with your girls, not thinking about it until the night is over when your feet are dying, and then you think about it. But until then, you're just literally enjoying yourself because you're in a confident space. You know what I'm saying? But when we assign our brains to a task, then everything else comes along with it. When you're going out to the club, the task is to enjoy yourself, have fun, be a bad bitch, right? When you go to class, the task is I'm coming here to train and learn. I think I know everything, or I don't know everything that I need to know. So I need to come in here, I need to be focused, I need to do this, I need to do that, and all this other stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly fine. But the only problem with that is for my class, you can't sit in that mindset. That's not a mindset you can sit in. So I like to have that moment before choreography. That's why I always try to have those free moments before we go into choreography, so that by the time I'm hitting the choreography, even if you go back to that assigned taskful mindset that you came into class with, you've been separated enough from it for a time being that you still feel like, oh, okay, well, I'm just here having fun. You've been broken down. So even if you have to build it back up, it's going to take you that much longer to put your brain back in that space that you came to class with, because you're still thriving off the energy that you just felt during that moment, that across the floor, that slow walk. And as you know, during those moments, we have seen things in class out of girls you would never think you would see.
Yeah.
You'd be like, did she just put her shirt off in her pants? And now she's going across the floor in her drawers? Like, okay, like we didn't expect that out of her, brand new student. Like, you know, first day he's standing in the corner looking scared as hell to walk across the floor. But then when you turn the lights off, that's when everybody's like, boom, I'm here. Now is my time. The lights are low. You can't really see me. So, you know what I'm saying? And then once you gain that moment and that confidence, you carry it through. You carry it through the choreography, and then you carry it through the energy. Like you said, coming to class and practicing that. And another reason I like to do that is because when a lot of people come to class, they never get that moment. Some people never get a moment to be seen, or never get a moment just for people to cheer and be like, yes, bitch, you know what I'm saying? They never get those moments. They're either at the back of the class, they never get called out, or, you know what I'm saying, they're never the first one to jump in a circle, or if they jump in a dance circle at all. But in that moment, in that space, and then you get to see the environment, you get to see, oh, well, damn, they're screaming for everybody. That girl went across the floor, and she was brand new, and she looks just like me. She's not even taking a heels class, and, you know, but they're living for her. Well, maybe they'll live for me. You know what I'm saying? And then when they start hearing that energy, it's like something you can, if somebody's cheering for you, how can you not get into it and just let yourself go? It's just like somebody singing happy birthday to you, and you're just like, hey, happy birthday. Like,
it's infectious, it's contagious.
And then, like, you know, it's contagious, and like I say, it's an energy exchange.
Yeah,
I get excited, and people be like, "Does he really?" No, I genuinely be excited, screaming to the top of my lungs. Like, I think I've probably said yes 20 billion times in my lifetime since I've been teaching Ghetto Stiletto, because I literally be feeling yes. Like, you know, those are so genuine. Like, I can't help it. Like, you know, it's something that just comes out of me because I get so excited to see people breaking barriers. Like, I see people breaking barriers. I see old layers being shed in those moments. I see stress and drama and addictions and all types of shit just being shed during those moments. And then for me too, it's also healing. Those moments are very healing for me because the energy I'm putting back into you, it's all just circling back around and it's coming back into me. Like, there's been times I came to class and I've just been going through it, and I'm just like, bitch, oh my goodness, I don't even know how I'm gonna make it today in class. Like, I'm just not in the space or the headspace. And it's like crazy. I'll never feel that way. And I've had moments where I came to class like that. And then as soon as I see my girls coming in, I'm just like, bitch, what are you doing? Snap the fuck out of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, y'all class and you ladies, like my girls and my guys, y'all have healed me so many times without you even knowing. Classes, carnivals, like all of those moments, like, yeah, all of those moments, like, just as healing and evolving as it is for you, it's evolving for me as well, because me knowing, or not even knowing, because I really didn't know what I was doing when I got here, but I more so went with the things that I felt. So me seeing that what I'm doing is working for people and what I'm doing is actually helping people. If you come to one class and you never come to me again, but you gain something, some type of positive inspiration, you learn something new about yourself. A lot of times girls come to my class and they do shit they ain't never think they could do before. They be like, I ain't never think I'd be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you gonna do it today. Like,
Yeah, and it's taking this space of confidence out of theory and putting it in practice. Like I get to embody this, like embodying pussy power, not just thinking like I'm powerful, I'm a bad bitch, but getting to stand in that and exercise that in such a free space is so important. It's so integral. And
like you said, it's a practice. And it's funny, I never thought of that word to think of it as, but it is a practice. Totally. Because like people say, you can forget yourself. You can forget if you don't practice those moments for yourself. Yeah. Reminding yourself, I'm a bad bitch. Reminding yourself that's what I'm saying. When people be like, oh, I ain't did that in years. It's like, okay, but you did it at one point. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you know what it feels like. You know what that energy is to have that moment. So trying to bring yourself back, like, and I don't think people ever know, I'm nervous before I do anything that I'm a solo person, period. Performance, stage, even walk across it. Like, I'm always like, I get nervous and it never fails. No matter how long I've been performing, every carnival, I'm always nervous. Like, I don't know if you ever noticed, sometimes I just get real quiet right before I go on. And I kind of just be like, you know, like, that's like me in like a space. Sometimes I might disappear for a second. It's like, where's Apollo? Yeah. Like, you know, because that's just, I've always been that way. And to me, and that's something I don't hide from. It's natural. It's natural for me. And what I do, I've learned how to use that energy and to transmute it into something more. It's like, you're nervous because, bitch, you know you got to fuck it up. Like, and like, that's why you're nervous. You're nervous because you're like, they're not ready. You know what I'm saying? They're not ready for what you're about to bring. Even though I'm nervous as fuck.
Yeah, I feel you. And I don't know. It's like an excitement at the same time as nervousness. It's like, I'm about to unleash the genie, unleash the dragon.
Yes, and that's the thing. Sometimes that's another thing about my class that, like I said, that building that confidence, because I still, which is crazy, I still struggle with that. I always have. I've always struggled with the level of that where it's like, I'm right here and I'm literally at the point where I can flip the switch. It's like, okay, I'm pressure's building, boom, 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 boom. Now it's here. Now it's like, okay, I could either go above the line or I could just stay right here.
Right.
And sometimes I have those conversations in my head while I'm dancing or performing or whatever. And it's like, okay, don't give too much. Just, you know, give it just enough. Or are you giving too much? Or are you being too full out? Like, I still have those moments in my brain. Like, where it's like, are you going too hard? Maybe you should hold back. You know what I'm saying? And that I've struggled with that sometimes. Like, and I've had moments where I've done that, where I look back and I was like, bitch, you know how you know you weren't going off? Because you can sit here and think about everything you were thinking about as you were dancing.
Yes.
Shouldn't be thinking.
Right.
You should only be fucking feeling at that point.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So if you have time to think, you're not living in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that
at all
is such a lesson that I've learned from you, and that I've been inspired to teach about too, is just like that space where you are not in a constant loop of thought. That's actually the present. And the more that you're in the present, the more you're in your power, because the more that you're in this theoretical space, the less you're actually connected to what's really happening. Like, this is your body, this is your hips, this is the ground. Be here. Because that's where you're powerful, and that's when you feel alive. And when that translates, you really can tell when somebody's in their head versus when they're inhabiting their body.
Yeah, and it's just a weird thing. I don't know if anybody, I've said this before to people, but sometimes when I perform, how I know when I'm in that space is when I go back in my mind to remember the moment. I view it almost, and it probably sounds a little interesting, I'm sure you'll definitely understand, but when I go back to view the moment in real time or think about it, the way that I view it, I don't view it as if I'm on stage. When I see the performance, I always see it as if I'm above myself and I'm looking out.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I can so relate to that.
Like, it's
an
always
out of body.
I know that moment when I'm out of body, because I'm saying my memory, I can't think of being physically on stage. I can't think of anything else, but the vision that I see, I always see myself looking down at the performance like that. So once I realized that that was happening and I attached myself to that, I realized this is your moment where you really separate yourself from yourself to fully allow yourself to be free and do what you need to do on stage, and to like fully feel what you need to do on stage. Not just think about it and go through the motions, because most of the time everything's in your body. And some things it's like, bitch, we here now. I can't fix it. Like, bitch, if you don't got the count, you don't got it. So
yeah.
like, you know,
replace it with
and then too, figure it out, but just make sure you look cute. Like you know what I'm saying? But I've had a lot of moments like that, to where I've even found myself going back and forth, where it's like I'm on stage and I'm up here, and I'm on stage again and I'm up here, and it's like, bitch, you need to stay up here. You don't need to come back down here and start thinking, like, you know. So that's, to me, that's also a practice. Having that moment to where I had to practice that as well, even in class. When I would take class, is because when I take class, I'm like everybody, like, I am not a good class taker. Like, I'll be like, oh my gosh, like what was the count? 5, 7, 5, 6, 7. Got it. Like, you know,
right.
Yeah, and it's a mental thing. And I realized when I just come in class and relax and don't focus on choreography, just focus on just movement and feeling. When I started doing that and just focus on movement and focus on feeling,
everything.
It changed everything for me. And mind you, I had to learn this. And I'm like, bitch, you've been teaching since you were like 17, 18 years old, and you're like 26. And the light bulb just clicked. Like, you know, like, you know, and it's like you're teaching it, but then applying it to yourself. Also because I have been so separated from being a class taker, because I started off being a teacher. I never started off taking dance classes. I was like, I choreograph for my friends or the step team, or, you know, summer camp or whatever. Like, we'll make dances and do stuff like that. And then I was like, I want to start teaching. And then I just started teaching. So I never really had a moment to where I was a class taker. So I really, until I came to LA, I took classes back home, but I was also teaching. So it was kind of like, and you know, you take classes from your friends, so it's different. But actually taking classes from like choreographers who I'm like, oh my God, you work for who and what? Never had that experience, so I moved to LA. So for me, it was definitely I had to really separate my mind when it came to class taking. But once I did that, it was just like, okay, bitch, because then the performer could come out. Like, that's when, like, because I would show the class. I would show my ass in class. Like, bitch, don't let me get this choreo, and please don't ask us to freestyle after, because you're about to get a you're about to get you about to get a show.
Right.
So but, you know, I mean, I feel those spaces are important. Even freestyle to me is so important.
It is.
Some people, they're so focused on learning, and people got to understand everything you're learning isn't necessarily your movement. You know, so having freestyle moments allows you to understand, even though I'm moving this way because I'm taught this naturally, or not even just naturally the way my body moves, but naturally what I feel. This is naturally what I feel, not what energy or what the choreographer feels or the teacher feels or the whoever feels. This is what I naturally feel. This is my natural performance essence. This is my natural confidence, because it's easy to grab someone else's and to put it on you and wear it like a jacket. And then in those freestyle moments, what happens? You don't know what to do, because why? You don't know yourself. You don't know what you feel like. You don't know what it feels to have your essence on you in that moment when you be free. So you're too busy trying to pull and pick from this person's class and that person's choreography and that person, or what you saw on YouTube.
And then that happens in real life too, because when you are trying to embody your power or your sexuality or your sensuality, and you're moving through space and just walking across the room, are you doing it like you saw someone do it on TV? Because that's not you, and that's not sexy to you. It doesn't even feel sexy to you. It doesn't feel good, because you're dressing up as someone else, and it's not authentic. It's not like connected and rooted in who you actually are.
Yes, and then and that's the thing. That's why when it even comes to being sexy, you can't be attached to your sexuality and be sexy, and then you feel awkward or look awkward, because it's not your sexuality. That you're trying to.
That's how you know.
invoke. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's another thing I love to see is the difference between all the ladies, and especially that moment when they get in touch with their sexuality. Because that's the thing too that I've always wanted to make a point for Ghetto Stiletto, because some people look at it like, oh, that's raunchy, or they're, you know, showing too much or doing too much or being whatever. And I'm just like, no, you're doing too much because you're the one putting your perspective on what they're doing. Because you're the one that's taking it like, oh, they're being overly sexual, or you're taking it as, oh, they're just trying to show their pussy or whatever the fuck. And it's like, no, bitch, what I'm doing is feeling myself.
Yeah. Amen.
The right that God gave me is to feel myself and be in tune with my body and my sexuality. And the fact that you can't seem to find this beautiful is on you. Period.
I'm gonna frame that whole sentence, that whole statement. Yes, so much yes, because these are our fucking bodies to begin with, and whatever we do with them is completely up to us. And if you are putting your limitations and boundaries that you learned from the society we live in, and you just can't even see that this is just nature, like our bodies are just nature, sexuality is just nature, you can't even see that or be in touch with that, then you need to come to class. Like, you need to confront that. Because it doesn't feel like freedom, I'm sure.
and especially with, because I always say I'm not a woman, so you know what I'm saying, that there's some things that I don't understand, definitely, but I do know the energy that I feel, and I do know what I see, and I've been around enough women to just know certain things when it comes to that. And everyone has moments to where, especially women, I feel society has made them feel the least confident about the things that we all as a society uses against them. Oh, well, we're only going to think about or talk about or use your body when it's convenient for us.
Yep.
Money, sex, or whatever the case may be. But when the narrative doesn't fit what we want to be about right now, then it's, oh, it's shameful. No, put some clothes on. You shouldn't be doing that. Pole dance and what? This and like, no, because you were for it when it was pointing you down or you needed to get off or whatever. You're all for it then. You're all for sexuality. But when it becomes about the woman, when it becomes about women empowering themselves, it has nothing to do with you, nothing about what you see, what you think, what you feel. I care less. I'm doing this for me. Then that's when it becomes a problem. And that's been always my thing. That's when people like, you know, your girls always, my girls up there being real girls. They're being real women. Sorry. Yeah, real bodies and everything. Sorry, you're not used to seeing that. I get it. You're not used to seeing that movement because that's how real women move.
Yes, exactly.
So I need you to explore and expand your thought process of women, because there's all types of women out there. It's not one specific type or one specific whatever. There's all types of women, and everything in society should be catered to all types, period. Mm-hmm. That's just how I feel.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm so with you on that. I mean, I'm having the same problem on Instagram in general right now. It's like you can sell lingerie on Instagram. You can have famous people doing pole dancing, but real people who are just being in their bodies wearing the same shit that models are wearing, all of a sudden it's a problem, and my account is under threat of being deleted for this reason, you know? And it's like, yeah, because you're not making money off of me. So that's why you're mad about it. And that's the context you see. It's okay.
Yeah. And other people are mad because they're not allowed to be as free as they want to be.
Yeah.
So instead of supporting or whatever, they're like, oh, well, I'm not going to support that. I'm a shun. It's like, bitch, please, you wish that you could wear this dress, or you wish you could wear this pump, or open your legs this wide.
Yes.
So, I stretch this pussy, bitch. I don't know about you, but I stretch this pussy.
With legs wide open.
I know, exactly. What do you mean, dude?
Creed. Oh my God, I brought in Creed.
Rattle down.
But so I want to ask you this. What does pussy power mean to you?
All right, pussy power. What pussy power means to me, it's the woman's just natural essence that they were just born with. Like I always tell women, and I know you've heard me tell this too. Like, and I think I've come to know this more because when I had dreads, there were things that I did that are deemed as feminine or just specifically for women, but they are, because for one, women with long hair. Like I always tell women, when you're talking to somebody and you do this, it's like, yeah, so you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like just playing with your hair, like stuff like that. Those are little things I like to consider pussy power. People don't know that you're adding a little seasoning to whatever you're doing at that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like those moments right there, just the natural sexuality of just a woman, the way they speak, the way they walk, how they carry themselves, the confidence, all of that stuff. To me, that's pussy power. Having the type of energy to where no matter what, you could be wearing a trash bag and you're like, I'm the baddest bitch in the trash bag. Like that's pussy power. You know what I'm saying? Understanding that being a woman, what that means. Like overall, like when they say pussy power, no one would be here without the pussy, literally. Literally. So just the fact of that is powerful enough as it is. So, and just literally just fully, when I say pussy power, just is the confidence of being a woman, confidence in a woman's body, the changes that a woman's bodies go through, accepting those changes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like all of that stuff, taking the things about you, no matter what society feels or deems, like even being body conscious, body size, all of that stuff. Trust me, somebody out there likes it, period. Somebody out there is loving it. They looking for it. They looking for all the rolls, all the cellulite. They looking for it all. Yeah. They want it. Same with titties. They looking for it all. That's what they love and that's what they want. In some countries, this shit is like gold. It's like, I need a thick girl with some cellulite because that's what we like over here on this side of town. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yep. And everybody tries to pull themselves into all these different perspectives. Like, pussy power is taking those things that society deems about you to be negative or wrong or whatever, and turning that shit and flipping that shit and saying, look, bitch, you might like it, but I do. And so do these other billions of people that don't happen to be you. So to me, that's like, I guess to say the overall what pussy power means to me, just overall period. And that's an energy that I feel only women can carry. That's an energy because, like I say, men, we don't go through all the changes that a woman goes through. Y'all literally evolve over time as you get older, period. Including your period.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
So how do you relate? How do you relate to pussy power? Because I feel like I've learned a lot about embodying pussy power from you, to be honest, about embodying my own pussy power from what you taught.
Yeah, I think because I've been in tune with my feminine energy and the fact of what it's done for me, and I'm not even a woman, if that makes sense. So to feel that power, and I'm not even a woman, and then to see a woman who actually has the pussy, and she doesn't feel it. And I'm just like, how can you not feel this? I only have a small dose of the feminine energy, and you literally embody it. So if I can feel empowered just by the feminine energy that I have within me, with the feminine energy that I get, how can you not feel empowered? Because you are the pussy power. Literally, you are that energy. Yeah. So that's kind of like how I say I can relate. Like I say, with the hair thing, me having dreads, if I want to have dreads, I would not have known what these things feel like, or having hair. You know what I'm saying? The subtle things that women, where are you trying this? Oh God, trying to go to his favorite place, which is underneath the couch. Not today. I don't have time. No, I don't have time to play Let's Find Adonis today. Like, I really don't. But sorry, 1 second. Oh, okay. Okay.
So this is a good time to say, in 1 minute, this live is going to end because it was an hour long already. So then I'll just start it back up.
Oh, damn, that's right. I forgot we on IG. IG, you need to fix that, like, real quick.
And we're back. Yeah.
I know, it was, like, right at the time.
Yeah, it did. I didn't know either. It said there was a minute left, but that's all good. People will make their way back in. Yeah, thanks for joining back in. So... I just have one more question before we wrap this up.
Okay.
And that is that something that we talked about in person recently, and something that I've been curious about chatting about, which is around twerking. And I know that in your classes and the speeches that you create, that you invite every woman, and that's been a tagline you've been using recently, like every woman has a ghetto stiletto girl inside of them. And I wonder, like, if you could share a little bit about your perspective about appropriation and twerking, and kind of the idea of ghetto stiletto, but how somebody interacts with that space if they're not necessarily fit into a typical, or like if they don't come from a place where that is true for them, or how you feel about that. Does that make sense?
So when it comes to cultural appropriation, the thing that I think people don't understand about it, for one, a lot of people don't know enough about culture to call cultural appropriation. That'd be the first thing. You have to know enough about culture and another person's culture, whether to say they're appropriating. And then when people say cultural appropriation, you have to look at, is this person trying to just do this and this isn't true to them, or they're not taking the steps to understand or learn what it is that they're doing or learning, or etc. Or is this person doing this because they genuinely want to have this be like something that they embody? This empowers them. This is something that they feel that they want to take the time to, just pretty much add to their repertoire. So when it comes to twerking especially, I can say there has been appropriation of that, but at the same time, when it comes to twerking culturally, there hasn't been a standpoint of where it comes from. If you ask most people, they don't know where twerking comes from. They don't know what it is, nothing. They just see people doing it and it's something fun and that's it. So when it comes to something like that, clearly there's a whole history when it comes to twerking and something behind it. But as an American society, when it comes to twerking, it's not coming from a place of cultural anything. It's not something like, in Africa or Brazil or anything like that, because all the different cultures, when it comes to moving your ass and your waist, it's a lot of different cultures. And like you, Puerto Rican, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when it comes to Spanish culture, if you've not been to anything or seen anything Spanish or anything from the islands or anything like that, just a lot of cultures use their, even, is it India? I think it is. Where I've seen they also twerk there too. There's like, I've literally seen them in the whole full get up, like twerking and all that stuff, like different cultural dances. And like I said, it all goes back to their own perspective of what they're seeing. It's like, this is twerking, so it's just whatever. Actually, it derived from this. And it's been Americanized into this, but it's derived into this. And when it comes to somebody holding a space, when it comes to arts is supposed to be a space for everyone. At the end of the day, it's supposed to be, if it wasn't a space for everyone, most of the things that people are doing artistically wouldn't even happen, because a lot of things have been fused and used and been influenced by this or that or etc. over time. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to stuff, and like especially twerking, because that's like the craze, and at one point no one was doing that either. That was not the thing to do. Twerking, what the fuck? And then now people want to, I think nowadays people want to pick and choose when they want to feel or deem something is appropriate, or either appropriating or abiding or whatever. They want to take moments when the purpose suits them within that time frame. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to that, I feel like that's a space that, like, that's like me saying, I can't take karate because I'm not, like I can't eat this certain food because I'm this. I can't cook it. You can eat it, but you can't cook it now because you're appropriate. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's not like that. It's about intention. That's what it comes down to. What is your intention with this? Is your intention to do this just to make money and to never, and then once you're good with that, you're just going to move on to something else? Or you're only doing this because that's the only reason, or it's popular or whatever. It has nothing to do with empowering yourself. It has nothing to do with anything purposely to better yourself other than for personal gain. That's it. Nothing spiritually, no, on any level. Physically, like some people just want to do it just for the physical perspective. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, I don't think it's right for people to shun people or to make people feel less of or not, I don't know, culturally proper or whatever, because they want to partake in something else that isn't of their culture. Like, that's what life is supposed to be about. If it wasn't, I wouldn't love Thai food as much as I do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, so, like, it's like I say, it's for some people, it's about an intention. It's about an intention. But once again, like I said, people have to understand things culturally before they can call something appropriation. And they don't. Right. They don't know where stuff comes from. They don't know what cultures traditions or anything. They don't know that far. And even if they do, and if they did know, they should also know that artists are everyone. Some things now are clearly not supposed to touch. Like when it comes to some certain traditional dances and things like that, like that's on a borderline of respect. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to twerking hasn't been on that level of this is a traditional dance of this and that, even though it has those aspects and prospects. But the way that people are doing it now, we're not conjuring no spirits or celebrating the dead. Like that's not what twerking's about in America or anywhere at that point right now in the world when it comes to commercially doing it. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my feelings on it. And I don't like I'm saying, maybe other people might have a perspective of it, but and also it's an energy thing too. And I think it's dance at the end of the day. It's movement. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I say about that.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts about that. There are there's so many different opinions about it, and it is a complicated issue, and it has been something that I have been exploring further as I just for me integrity is important, and if I don't feel like I have I always want to feel that whatever I am sharing or teaching or whatever transmission that is done in a respectful way, and that it is that the people that I'm teaching to are aware of the history and or the herstory and what is and just aware about their own intentions when they come into it. So it's been a really interesting
and nobody's taking those extra steps when it comes to twerk class. They're not talking about this is, you know what I'm saying, that is extra steps, especially in America, because that isn't a cultural thing as far as America is concerned. They don't even know that it comes from different cultures in other countries, Africa, across the board. They don't know, they just think like, oh, it's just this, or they just think, oh, that's just black people twerk. It's like, first of all, the definition of black, that is a bunch of color schemes across the board, as it is. So you just look at a person and automatically assume whatever you want to assume without knowing and even if they are a different color, you don't know how the person is raised, the household, whatever. That's what adoption is for. So yeah, and I think just bringing awareness to the fact of what you just said about just the intention and the space that the person's carrying their energy in when they're doing things like that, And it's like, am I doing this because I love it and enjoy it and have fun, or I'm doing it because my intention is to just steal a whole entire culture and bank off of it? Those are two different intentions completely. So that, to me, it all comes down to that, definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm really wanting to I'm intending to hold a deeper discussion around this because I
think we should. I think it would be great because it needs to be a discussion that's opened up for sure, so people can really talk about it.
Yeah, and I love talking. I mean, I studied anthropology, and I love talking about different cultures and dance, where it comes from, and just honoring where we are in that journey. Like, it didn't come out of thin air, and it's not going to disappear into thin air. And you have a responsibility too in how you interact with it to just honor it and honor yourself in that process too. So the last thing I'm just going to ask you is just to tell us about you, and please do name drop some of the people that you've worked with, because I know you've worked with some dope ass people, and also what you're working on now and how we can follow you and support you.
Okay, so definitely, and so I've had definitely the pleasure and opportunity. I worked with some stars and artists. I've got to work with Busta Rhymes and Jesus, girl,
the snake.
Yeah, because she's bored.
The snake who wants all the attention.
I know she's over this interview. She's like, "Can I get down? Like, can I just go somewhere else?" Like, girl, but she wants to go behind the couch. She loves that space. But Yeah, I work with Chris Brown, with Busta Rhymes, Justin Bieber. I've gotten to work with DJ
Tyra.
Tiesto, Tyra Banks.
Who did you
I've
say
gotten to
before
work
that?
with DJ Tiesto.
Tiesto, yes.
Yeah, Tyra Banks. I've done stuff for MTV, TRL. Thinking right in my head. Recently this year I got to work with E Entertainment. I did something with Nene Leakes. It was called Celebrity Call Center. So if you call, you get to hear me on there. That was a fun job actually. And can't really think on the top of my head. A few other things here and there I can't really think right now. But yeah, so that's
so many dope people over the years just seeing you.
Yeah.
And
definitely been blessed with that for sure to the people I've gotten a chance to work with. And two, what I'm doing now, on top of just working on my brand and stuff like that, and I have other stuff coming out. I've been working on a project. This is like a personal project for me. It's called Every Woman, that I've been doing with my girls. And the project is basically showing the two sides of what like a woman is. It's showing her everyday side, what she does, like normal. This is my normal life. And then their ghetto stiletto girl persona. Like once they put their ghetto stiletto shirt on, once they get that ghetto stiletto energy, then they turn into that other perspective of themselves. So I've been dropping those projects throughout this month. I have 2 series that I'm doing. I've been dropping the first half of the series. The next month, which is my birthday month, November, I'm gonna be dropping the next half of the series. So everyone, you guys can check that out. Official Ghetto Stiletto Girls on IG, or you can look at Official Ghetto Stiletto as well. You can see those on there. And yeah, throughout the rest of this month, I'm dropping 2 more, and then I'm gonna be dropping the rest coming in November. Yeah. So that's something. Alyssa's in there, so you'll be able to see her.
Me. We had some fun with that. Yeah, that was so much fun.
Oh yeah, Alyssa's is so. All the girls is amazing, and Alyssa's is, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see it. Actually, it's so very good. But yeah, and then now I've been working with my business partner, Dance Freaks. Y'all can also look at them, Dance Freaks, Instagram, IG. And now it's Dance Freaks Productions, and we've been working on our first production. It's called When Worlds Collide. Also, all my Ghetto Stiletto girls who are watching, I'll be meeting you like really soon because we have to shoot a commercial. Anyway, so for the show, so I'll be sending messages out like really soon because I need to shoot something because I have the new gear and all that stuff, so I have to shoot something.
Super cute new gear, Ghetto Stiletto shirts
and crop hoodies and crop tops. Yeah. So it's called When Worlds Collide, and the show is basically bringing all different perspectives of dance. It was produced by Dance Freaks, and the owner of Dance Freaks, she had this big, huge idea and this big perspective and concept that she wanted to build and bring together. So the show releases tomorrow. I think 7 p.m. West Coast time, Pacific Standard Time. And you have pole dancers, you have Caribbean, we have salsa. It's just a big mixture of all these just different worlds that are collided into one. And yeah, it's in the show. Like I said, it's tomorrow. It's a virtual show. You can get tickets. You can go to Dance Freaks to get tickets and stuff like that. I directed it and all that stuff, and did creative direction as well, along with Erica, who's the owner of Dance Freaks. And yeah, it's just been an amazing experience creating this project and creating this dance company. Well, excuse me, not dance company, production company. Working with this production company with Dance Freaks. And I'm just really excited for everyone to see it. And we have so much more stuff coming up after this show, which I'm really excited for. So everyone just stay tuned because you'll definitely be seeing a lot more of Ghetto Stiletto and my girls really, really soon.
Yes.
So tune in, you guys, tomorrow if you can to the show. Like I said, When Worlds Collide is Dance Freaks.
Dance Freaks is with a PH too, by the way.
Yeah, it's Dance Freaks with a PH, you guys, and a Z at the end. Dance Freaks.
Yes.
Okay, Freaks. But yeah, and that's pretty much it. Just that's all I've been doing, and just being quarantina,
I love that. Oh, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me and be on my podcast.
Shirt. Oh my goodness, that's you on your shirt.
It It's like
Oh
picture
my
in
gosh, that
picture.
is super fucking fire. Like, you need to print those out and sell them, like, for real. I
Well,
would so fucking
this
wear that.
artist is Jack the Stripper. It says, "Want to take a ride on my magic carpet?" I think that's what it says. Want to go for a ride on my
Ooh,
magic carpet?
come on, Magic Carpet. And it's your, I love that. That is so
So,
fucking dope. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm obsessed with Jack the Stripper's work as well. She's a badass, and I got this done of me, which I love. But
Ooh, it's
yes,
so bomb. So bomb.
thank
Only you two could pull that off.
And I want like my hair matches with the filter and
I
everything. I'm
know. That's
complete.
what's like,
I'm
yeah.
complete.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't
So
know. I think you should try that look out.
I'm I might just do that. I might
It
just do
looks
that.
bomb. I'm sorry. It looks amazing.
Thank you.
So,
Well,
you know,
thank you. Thank you so much, Apollo. And thank you for everyone who tuned in. I'm so
yes,
happy
thank
that I
you so
got
much,
this
you
chance to
guys.
really talk about some of this deeper underneath the surface of Ghetto Stiletto and Pussy Power and all of this.
Yeah.
And if you didn't get to catch the whole thing, then I'll be posting it in my feed, but also it'll be on my podcast, Pussy Empowered Podcast. So you can check that out too.
Pussy Empower Podcast.
Yes.
Pussy. Yes, I love it.
Thank you so much. Sending so much love to everyone. Mwah.
Yes.
Thanks for the hearts.
Yes, thank you guys.
And have a beautiful
Appreciate
rest
it.
of your day. Have a pussy powerful rest of
Yes,
your
have a
day.
pussy powerful instilled day.
Yes. Bye, Apollo.
I love you,
I love you
Alyssa.
so
Love you so much.
much. Mwah.
Yes, thank you for this. Awesome. We'll see you soon, babes.
See you soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.